Good morning, and welcome to The Morning Table, an inspirational and devotional podcast for creatives and dreamers. I'm your host, Brittany, and every Tuesday we'll pause, reflect, and reset with a quick word of encouragement rooted in faith. Whether you're starting your day or starting something new, this is your sacred space to breathe, believe, and begin again. So let's pull up a chair.
Today, I want to talk about the story of Jonah. So if we look at chapter 1 of that book, we find that God has given Jonah an instruction to go to Nineveh. God wants Jonah to tell the people there that the things that they're doing are not pleasing in his sight. And Jonah is basically like, "No, God, you're going to have to get somebody else to do that." And he decides to go to Tarshish instead. Now we get to verse 4 and we see that God sends a great wind and it causes a storm that disturbs the boat so much so that everybody is panicking. And they're crying out to their respective gods, asking for help and trying to figure out why this is happening. And meanwhile, Jonah is asleep on the lower part of the ship. Now, when you fast forward to the later verses, we see that everyone basically figures out after, trial and error and conversation that this is Jonah's fault. And the only resolution is to throw Jonah overboard. In verse 17, at the end of that chapter, we see that the Bible tells us that the Lord sent a great fish to swallow Jonah up. Now, I am not here to have a theological debate about whether or not this story happened exactly how it's described. What I do want to discuss is how this story is relevant for every believer who feels like they may have lost their way or who feels like they are so far off course that they can't even see a way forward. Maybe you're experiencing a Jonah moment. Maybe you've had an instruction from God that you wholeheartedly disobeyed. Maybe you heard God clearly, but you allowed fear, doubt, or downright defiance keep you from doing what God said. And now you find yourself feeling like you're in the belly of the fish, a place that no one wants to be, a place that by every indication looks like and feels like it should kill you. But the beautiful thing about our God is that despite how we miss it sometimes, he has already accounted for that. You can look at Jonah 1:17 in multiple translations, and the heart of God is consistently shared there. God is intentional. He is Jehovah Jireh. He is the God who looks ahead and pre-positions supply. If you think about it, as vast as the sea is and as unpredictable as water can be, the only way that fish could have been there was if God positioned it perfectly to be there for Jonah. Now, this wasn't a coincidence. This was God's foresight and intentionality wrapped up in love. Just like God knew Jonah would disobey and helped him anyway, he wants to help us too. God doesn't want to punish us. He already sent Jesus for that, which means that no mistake, no decision, no challenge, and no circumstance is bigger than the power of what Jesus did on the cross. God wants to be good to us in spite of our mistakes, our flaws, and our issues. He already knew about them. He already prepared for them. When Jonah got up and got back on track, we know that he went on to do what God commanded him to do and save that city from God's wrath. God is able to do that for us too, and he wants to do it. It's the enemy's job to keep us feeling bad about what we did or didn't do. So let me remind anyone who feels like they're struggling because maybe they made a bad decision and maybe they should have known better. God's grace is still sufficient for you too. God's goodness and mercy are still following you all the days of your life too. God's mercy is still new for you every morning too. And as long as you have breath in your body, God is standing and waiting on you to decide to come back home. God is not looking for perfection. He's looking for a willing heart. I encourage you today, get up and try again because God is well able to get you back on track.
Thank you so much for joining me at the morning table. If today's word encouraged you, consider subscribing and sharing it with a friend. You can find more at brittany.music.com or follow along on Instagram at brittany.music. Until next time, keep creating from a place of peace.